Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Final Show Films. I'm Sen, your executive producer. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I particularly want to thank our $20 tier supporters over on our Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms. Those being Jeremy and Alexander, Samantha Bates, and Elle, without whom we wouldn't be able to do nearly as much as we do now. So thank you very much for your support over the years. And those of you that are watching live, please sit back, relax, and enjoy. We're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Exandria Rising. I am Sen, your game master for the evening, and joining me this week is Shani.
Hi, I'm Shawnee or William, and I am playing Najka, the orc craftsman. It's now a forge knight.
And Jack.
Hi, I'm Jack, and I am playing uh, Meanie Manny Gesby and Peas, three goblins in a robot. We're bards.
And Holly.
Hi, I'm Holly. I am playing Davina. She is a silky folk mystic.
And Jeremy.
I'm Jeremy. I'm playing Elafira, who is a water genasi rogue.
And Craig.
Hi, I'm playing Grouper, who is a Fisher Fish Circle of the Moon druid.
And returning from not being here last week, Jervian.
Trevian, I am playing Tenebrous, a Jerbine Witch.
And when last we left off, our tentatively held together by duct tape and prayer group of adventurers had made it through the Knoll ambush in the Farosh Mountains at the end of the Farosh Mountain Range, found a pile of corpses that were being used to continually generate more and more Knoll spawnings, and sent the souls of the deceased along from there, made their way to Creedom, and learned some stuff about each other, and more specifically about Elafira. Well, most of them did, because Davina and the Good Goblins stormed out. Well, Davina ran out, the Good Goblins stormed out before hearing the relevant information that Elafira had to say. We pick up with the inside of the Cobalt Soul, where most of you are there, having just got done briefing, or having just got done hearing Elafira's briefing on her situation, being an agent of the Cobalt Soul under the tutelage of Rook, and everyone except for Grouper has been kicked out of the room, as Elafira and Grouper
Oh shit!
have a
Somebody should have reminded me of that.
Yeah, you did this.
Yeah, I did this. All right, do you want to start?
He just crosses his arms and looks up at you. No. It's been a long day.
Mm-hmm. But we need to get over this so we can stop almost killing each other in the battlefield.
I was trying to... Okay.
Do we want to talk about what happened there first?
Do we need to? Is it gonna do anything?
Yeah, I think we should go over it. I think we should I think that we should talk about what happened, what went wrong, and how we can prevent that from happening in the future so that we don't kill ourselves or our friends.
Okay. There were two groups that came into conflict. There was a great deal of misunderstanding of intention. And then there was a lot of shouting and a lot of violence. And then everybody went on their way. Or did you mean what happened with the gnolls?
Fuck you, first of all. Second of
Not
all,
anymore.
yes.
Too late for that, girlfriend.
I am trying to be the bigger fucking person right now,
You
and
always have been.
you need to take the volume down.
You're right.
And you need to stop with the snark and the sarcasm, because I cannot have a productive conversation with you when that's happening.
You also can't have a productive conversation with someone if you force them into it. I know I'm little. I always have been. Everybody went off and into the world, had their adventures. An old grouper stayed behind. An old grouper stayed small. And everybody's back now, and Grouper's still the person that everybody grabs by the arm and pulls off into a conversation here, or pulls over here to talk to, or pulls over here to tell him how Grouper's making them sad, or pulls over here to tell Grouper how he's not doing things right. Well, listen, I know I stayed here, but I've changed too. Okay? And you
I'm
don't get
not-
to pull me around and tell me when it's time to talk.
I'm not saying that you haven't changed.
Then you don't get to act like nothing has changed. If you want to talk, you can ask me.
I did not realize I was acting as if nothing changed, because clearly a lot has. That said, 99% of our of the things that we need to talk about, yeah, I will be perfectly happy. Hey, is now a good time when we are almost killing each other and you don't want to talk about it? I'm sorry, that's no longer an option. In this situation, I'm going to say, yes, I'm sorry, I need to pull you aside because you don't seem to want to talk about this.
Have we had a short rest at all since the fight?
I don't
nope.
know the answer to that.
No, you have not.
Okay.
Right. Grouper looks longingly at the window and then turns back to Elefira. And we talk about this in the morning. I'm tired.
Fine. Yes, we can talk about it in the morning. But in the morning, Mr. Avoidant Personality, when I go to talk to you about it, and you're like, I'm in the middle of breakfast right now, or I need to go to the store to get something, or whatever the case may be, I'm sorry. No, we're talking about it then.
I'll be at the cliffs east of town to watch the sunrise. I'll see you there.
Sure, we'll have this conversation where one of us can potentially throw the other person off a cliff if we get angry. Sounds good. And yeah, I will just gesture to the door.
Grouper opens his mouth, closes it, closes his eyes in the way that you know for him is part wince and part swallow because of his anatomy, and just shakes his head a little bit and turns and walks to the door.
How far away from the meeting room did the rest of y'all get?
Right outside. No.
Cineverse is wandering around looking at the books.
All right.
Yeah, Najka is like perusing any nearby books that are available.
Okay. So yeah, you hear the door open from your respective areas within the Cobalt Soul. Outside, back behind the temple / library, Davina and Peas are still sitting there. Are you still just sitting there? Are you getting ready to get up and rejoin the others? What are you doing?
He's just gonna stick with Davina.
Davina's comfortable where she is.
Okay,
We're sitting.
just sitting out back.
Peace
What
is good company.
What are the rest of the good goblins doing?
The rest of the good goblins have walked out of town, and Gesby is currently throwing pine cones off the cliff.
So-
they are having a very emotional conversation right
So
now.
the cliff face is in town. The cliff face is not east of town. To correct Grouper, Grouper didn't need to be corrected in the moment because Grouper's never
What
been
about
corrected.
south of town? The
Um,
map looks like you can go south of town and there's cliffs there.
yeah. So if you exit south of town, it's less like
That's
It's-
what I'm.
yeah,
That's
okay.
that's where I was thinking.
cool. Yeah, because the eastern cliff face is in town. They have freight elevators and stuff over there. But yeah, you can exit south a little bit further down slope and find a slanted area within the trees to sort of stand and be at.
Is there, just for picturing it, is there a verticality to part of town? When you say that it's in town, like are there buildings built onto the cliff face? Or is it the eastern edge of town is the
so-
cliff?
As a reminder from last week, the town is built on plateaus. Like they've been it has artificially built out plateaus along the slope, so that the town itself sits flat. There are a few bits of construction like down the cliff face. It seems mostly like subterranean warehouse storage. You would assume. If you were to go look, because there's definitely like loading docks up and down the cliff face, but there's not a lot. There's no like port at the bottom of it. You're not certain. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you until at one point you do see that smaller airships. So they've got an airship tower, and smaller airships will tether to the cliff face below the lip of the cliff. And so when you actually look down the cliff from town and from out of town looking down the cliff, you can see right now there's 4 or 5 smaller airships that are just hovering just off the cliff face, tethered to the wall with, occasionally with people carrying cargo off of them.
Thanks.
Yep. Pull it up. So 2 of the good goblins are south of town having a conversation amongst themselves. I'm assuming this is not a conversation you wish to act out on your own, Jack.
Not right now.
That's fine.
If somebody goes and finds them, but
Yeah.
they can just have it.
Peas and Davina are hanging out behind the building, so the others, the other 4 of you, can regroup inside the Cobalt Soul.
Yep. I walked out not too long, like pretty shortly after Grouper.
How many people are visible as Grouper comes out the door?
For you, Grouper, none, because the stacks are taller than you.
Cool. Grouper
other-
feels
other
good
than-
about this.
Other
Very
than
subtle.
Alafira, anyways.
Grouper will head towards the door just to see. Planning to leave, but
Yeah, as you step around and start walking through the stacks, you can very quickly find Tenebris and Najka and Alafira, assuming Alafira isn't walking with you.
can't imagine. But I don't want to make that decision for Jeremy.
No, probably not. Honestly, I think Ella is going to try to find Davina.
Give me a investigation check. That is not the music I expected for a sound collection titled Ancient Library.
21.
What background music do you imagine for a scene titled Ancient Library? Do you imagine ritual drums? 21.
Yep.
with 21, it's not hard to get pointed in the right direction.
Cool.
And you can eventually loop around to the back of the building where Peas and Davina are sitting.
Yep. If the people who are inside want to do, because I know Johnny and everybody else inside hasn't gotten much chance to do anything yet, or I can go either way.
Shawnee, what is Najka
Um,
doing?
Johnny and Dresden.
Yeah. Najka will look like to find Tenebris, actually, at some point.
Okay, we can go with that. We can go with
While
that
everyone
first.
else is having their heartfelt conversations.
Is Tenebris actively
Tenebris
trying to
is-
hide?
Nah, no, he's looking through the books,
Easy enough to find.
trying to see if they have any books on like deep sea entities.
An investigation check.
Let's see, investigation.
They
Four.
certainly
He's not
have.
finding
They
shit.
certainly no. You're finding a lot is the problem. There's a lot of information on entities from various habitats, including deep under the water. You are currently reading a book on anglerfish when Najka comes up to you.
There you are, Tenebris.
Up.
Been meaning to ask you a few questions since we've got a little bit of downtime. You there's no careful way of saying this other than you seem a bit off.
Tenebris kind of ponders for a moment and is like, "What do you mean by off?"
I'd suggest you are sick, except you're not, quite clearly. It doesn't seem to be hindering you. But I don't know. There's something. It's clearly not getting in your way much, as far as I can tell, but it seems like there's something. I want to call it discomforting you.
I suppose it's probably just being back around people. Just having been stuck on an island for like a year.
Yeah, what happened with that?
No, I don't remember the specifics. I was out on a ship and somehow ended up overboard and washing up on some isolated beach.
I forget if I've rolled this perception check previously. Has Noshka noticed that Tenebris doesn't breathe?
Make a medicine check. It's not really a perception check. It's a medicine check.
To be fair, Tenebris does breathe.
Yeah, just manually.
Yeah. By force.
And you're all now manually breathing.
5. No, I have not, apparently.
With 5, yeah, no, you have not noticed.
I cast manual breathing.
I don't know. It's just. I understand that people are going to have their secrets, and everyone's a bit cagey, but it. Understand that I've got no reason to fault you for anything, but you seem a little cagier than most.
Which is saying something, considering Elafir is a literal actual spy.
right?
I chalk up part of that to just not remembering the finer details.
Fair enough.
Like,
But
it's hard to not be cagey about it when you don't know the entirety of it.
fair enough. But you know that I don't really go around spreading rumors. If there's anything you need to get off your chest at any point.
I appreciate that.
I need to go see if there's anywhere I might ply my trade for a few gold while I'm here, because I need money for supplies.
Yeah. Making sure to stay stocked up's usually good. Especially when, like, pointedly looking up. When it takes a lot of supplies to make stuff.
Yep. If you need any work done on any of your kit, by the way, I'm a dab hand at it. At just about making anything. The folk in town at Whitestone have jokingly called me the Omni Crafter because I make literally anything.
You hear the sound of realization from Fyron behind you as he goes, "Is that why he calls you Omni?" Hadn't put that together until just now.
Now, there's a moment of realization for Tenebrous. It's like, wait, when they were talking about Omni, they were talking about you. Because Tenebrous has also been to Whiterun, so probably also overheard people
Whitestone,
talking.
yeah.
Whitestone.
Yeah, if you've heard people talking about Omni, they've been probably talking about me.
I just figured it's someone I hadn't met in Whitestone. It's a big city.
I mean, it's gigantic compared to where you come from.
Yeah, it's a big place, but eventually, if you make yourself known and make yourself useful enough, you start to be known to the folk around.
Probably helps that I was hanging around with other crafters too.
Mm-hmm. I do a lot of work for Whitestone in various capacities. Help reinforce buildings, smith weapons, fix armor, mend clothes if need be. You know, even do a little bit of brewing on the side. Help farm. I put my hand at everything I can. So, if you need any work done, let me know. I'll be happy to help out.
Alright. Tenebrous
Naushka
kind of...
is both proficient in and has every artisan's tool.
Notably, like, Tenebrous looks at himself and thinks about it, it's like, what do I even have that could be worked on? Considering
I mean,
Tenebrous is wearing a pair of pants,
you'd be
just
surprised.
a long piece of fabric and a whip.
You'd be surprised what I can do with a whip.
Unlike
Yeah.
me,
It's for
Fyron
repair.
doesn't have a look across his face because he doesn't get it.
Tenebrous kind of...
Naushka gets it and is
The
just
one
going to
who
let it
should
lie
get
there.
it.
I would hope Najka gets it. Najka said it.
I would. Yeah, but why doesn't Byron get it?
That is another important question that we need an answer to.
Who does Najka get it with? Why does Byron not?
Because Najka gets the joke and wasn't meaning it in that regard, but knows that the joke is there.
I have a difficult time thinking that it wasn't said intentionally that way.
It was said intentionally that way, but she's
Then
doing
it
that
was
as a joke.
meant in that regard, just not seriously.
Yes. That was the joke.
Sorry, my semantics came into play again.
Those goddamn semantics.
Tenebris does like lift up his whip. It's like this thing is pretty worn and beaten. Maybe it could use some work then.
Well,
First, you need money.
I was about to say
Yeah.
I'll need a few supplies to be able to do anything with it, but I'll let you know when I've got the materials, and if you give me a night, I'll make something out of it.
Also, witches are proficient with light armor, so you could get some leather.
And yeah, if there's any armor you get your hands on at some point that you'd like me to work on, I can do that too.
Or craft whole cloth.
Yeah, or I could just make some if you need it.
All right.
In any event, I'm here to talk whether it's craft or personal stuff. I'm gonna go ply my trade. Let me know if you need anything.
Grouper?
I guess coming out, probably hearing the tail end of that conversation.
Sure.
Drev, am I correct in that Tenebris is not? Well, let me ask two different things. Did Tenebris used to be a chatty individual? I know you know Tenebris is a fairly like kinetic person, but is Tenebris chatty?
Not super chatty. Like, if he gets going on a conversation, he can be a little
Okay.
chatty, but like not by default.
Okay. Is Tenebris looking through books still?
Probably.
Okay. People will just come over and go. Oh. You gonna stay in here going through books?
I think so. Unless we have other business and Kratom to take care of.
The only thing I was thinking was going over to the docks, maybe seeing if anybody need help with nets or ropes or anything. But if you're looking for something, can I help?
I'm just while out sailing, you hear stories, you know,
Sure.
and I haven't spent much time in a library, so thought I'd see if there was anything that maybe some of those stories had some more truth to them than others.
If you want to look through it on your own, that's great. But I'll be honest, it sounds kind of nice to have a straightforward thing to look at that maybe I could work on and accomplish and finish. So happy to help if I can.
How dare you come for the entire neurodivergent audience we have? It was uncalled for, sir.
Well, something straightforward and finite. You might have better luck with the nets at the dock.
Okay. Well, good luck, Tenebris. And he'll reach out and pat you on the shoulder and cast guidance. And then, yeah, I think Grouper will head out and see if anybody is working on either just like rolling up ropes or preparing nets or anything at these sort of loading docks or winches or anything like that. He just would like to go out and make himself useful for a little while and then go to bed.
Following that a little bit, yeah. So you get to the cliffside and start taking a look around, and very swiftly, you discover that this isn't the sort of place where they let people just walk on up and start working on things. It's all involving offloading and unloading of goods at airship docks that tend to be private warehouse docks. So if you're not part of the company that runs or owns the warehouses or part of the crew of the airship, you're not allowed anywhere near it. And you get the sense that that's probably most likely because this is relatively delicate pieces of technology, and they don't want somebody who doesn't know what they're doing to, sink an airship accidentally or otherwise.
How far down is it to the water? Is there any place that is a straight drop into the water?
The entire cliff is basically a straight drop, aside from the airships in the way. But as far as distance down, make a nature check while you're looking down.
Okay. 18.
With an 18, you can tell it's not a survivable drop. You can't really tell the exact distance, but you can tell that you cannot make out very much detail of whatever activity, if any, that is going on in the water at the water's surface below. And that there is some amount of cloud formation below you. Not like thick and heavy like you're really high up, but definitely enough. There's enough distance between you and the water that clouds can form between the two of you, which is a very clear indication of death by falling.
We are not at survive terminal velocity levels of hit points yet.
All right.
That's when Grouper just wild shapes into a squirrel.
Yeah.
And then splatters.
No, I do a little tree frog and just jump off and spread out my hands. Except I can't because we didn't rest. I'm just gonna go out and just sort of, at this point, it's been a long day. I think Gruber just sort of like walks a little ways away from the docks. Is there sort of scrubby brush near town?
Outside the walls, yes. Inside is fairly urban, and yeah, like along the cliff. Another thing you would have noticed along the cliff face, there are like, they're like a regular like, stone pillars with chain attached to them to sort of form a rudimentary "don't go past this line." Along the cliff face to keep people from just accidentally wandering off the edge.
How hard is it to get out of the walls at this point?
Oh, not very hard. The gates are open. It's like people will visually acknowledge you when you walk through, but they're not. No one's getting stopped or searched.
I'm just gonna walk a little ways out of town. Gruber just lies down on his back, and I'm gonna use shape water to make a little Winnie the Pooh style rain cloud over my face.
All right.
It just waits there on me for a while.
All right. So, behind the behind the temple of the Cobalt Soul, Worm's head picks up and turns, and there's a soft growl, but not an aggressive growl, but I know you're there growl. That presages Elefira poking a head around the corner. And then the growl stops once Worm realizes it's Elefira.
Hey.
Hi.
Ella, can I talk? But now, Jesus Christ. Can I talk to you for a minute?
He's not there either, for what it's worth.
Yeah, Peace is next to her.
He's just sitting there watching.
I have something I need to tell you, and I think you probably want to hear this by yourself.
She will look at Peace.
Bad.
Pease is looking at her.
I mean, I don't care if Peace is here or not to
Okay.
hear it.
Okay. Come over, sort of take a crouch. So what you told us about how you got free and the person who helped you escape.
Rook.
I was not aware of this at all, but that's my mentor, essentially, in the Cobalt Soul. I didn't know it was happening. I had no idea you were where you were. I didn't know until we were all together and you said things. But that's what they go by.
But you didn't mention anything.
No, because I couldn't mention that I was associated with them until I got permission to do so.
Okay.
I don't know. Clearly, they know more. This isn't remotely surprising to me. Clearly, they know more about this situation than probably we all do. But
Jeremy,
uh-huh.
your mentor smokes. Do you think Elefira picked that up from them?
I think. I mean, I think that she does. I don't know that she does it habitually. I think she does it in terms of like put on a front when she's pretending to be flighty noble
Okay.
stuff. But I don't know that she necessarily does it herself because smoking is not generally good for people who are water based.
No, it isn't. I was just curious if Elefira was the stress of the current.
We
events was
found the
enough to-
character. We found the character type. I will not turn into a smoker.
All right, cool. I want to check. Continue.
No, I don't think. I don't think that she does like by herself without a purpose.
Not a stress smoker.
No.
Got it.
I wanted to tell you that. No, everybody else already knows it. Everybody who was inside already does because I dropped it all. But I wanted to tell you specifically, obviously.
I want to talk to her.
I would love that. I have a feeling so what you missed. Rooks gave me a message saying I need to get a group together of people that I trust and be in Stillben in 6 weeks. I have to assume it's related to all this. Like, Rook isn't doing this while also Najka is looking into this while also everything that happened to you. And this is not a coincidence.
Will Rook be there in 6 weeks?
Don't know. I can't say yes or no. I can make that request.
Okay.
And I will.
Okay.
Also, I am very sorry I did not reveal any of this information, any of it before now.
That's okay.
I couldn't.
I understand that.
Okay.
You and Grouper need to talk.
I tried. I legitimately tried moments ago.
Do you want me
Like,
to?
no, we're going to talk tomorrow, apparently, next to the cliff, because that's a great idea.
Why
yeah,
next to the cliff?
because he wants to watch the sunset or sunrise because he's fucking a grouper.
No,
I don't
it's
think
you.
he's going to try to throw me off of it, but
No, if it were someone else, I'd be more concerned.
right.
But Grouper's not the kind of person. And now you've told me where you're going to be, and so I know now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I tried.
I appreciate
I was very specific on look, if you don't want to talk about our issues now, I can't make you, but we need to be in a situation where we're not killing each other. And all I got back was jokes.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate that one of you is putting forth the effort.
we'll see how it goes.
Damn, this turned around on Grouper real fucking quick.
Oh no, she still cares about Grouper, but
She knows her audience.
Grouper
Yeah.
Grouper's gonna continue to try to avoid this. I mean, they're gonna talk now. And this is like an hour or so after, Grouper immediately started complaining about Ella to Davina and putting all the blame on her. And Davina's like, I'm not going to be part of that.
I feel like Najka from What We Do in the Shadows, just constantly like,
Ah,
You said Najka. I'm assuming there's a different end name in What We Do in the Shadows that you were referring to.
Nadia?
oh, is it Nadia?
I don't know. I need to get back into watching that show. It's been
It
I
starts
think
with
it's like
an
Nadia
N
or
with an A,
Nadja
but
or
it's
something.
entirely
Yeah.
possible,
Nadja.
Nadja.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you know where Grouper is, by the way, right now?
No. Last I saw, he was inside.
Okay. Thank you, by the
Mhm.
way, for telling
Yeah.
me this.
It was. Yeah.
I'm not mad at you, by the way.
Okay. Thank you. I'm gonna go get a drink.
Davina's gonna go try to find Grouper.
Peas is following Davina.
And Worm is following Peas. So this train.
Oh,
of
and Davina's got
pirates-
Flop with her too.
The whole entourage is on the way.
this train of humanoids and animals finds their way through town. Go give me an investigation check. It's not too hard to find Grouper, but let's see how long it takes you.
9.
All
Can I have
right.
advantage because I have a dog?
Sure.
Roll that again.
No, just Jack was doing it.
There.
16.
16.
Okay. Nashka, how much gold do you have on your person right now?
Oh no.
6 gold, 7 silver.
Are you going to try to turn all of it into profit or only some of it?
I will try and turn as much as I can into profit. I'm trying to make money,
Okay.
either
give me-
providing my services to others or just crafting and selling directly.
Give me a craftsman tools check with strength.
23.
Okay. Now give me a persuasion roll with advantage.
14.
Okay. You're able to over the course of the rest of the day. So this is effectively your act of crafting for the day. For this next long rest functionally. But over the course of the next long rest, you are able to make 12 gold by crafting something and then selling it for double price functionally.
Okay.
All right. Meanwhile, that's just getting that out of the way now because that's what Notchka's doing for the foreseeable future. Jerian, with so there are lots of books in the Cobalt Soul archive about all manner of creatures from under the water. How long do you spend reading about them?
Probably until dusk.
Yep. You go through page after page of unsettling and upsetting descriptors of deep sea aquatic entities, and from weird ass fish and sharks to some slightly more mythologized entities. You find there are depictions, details, and articles and scientific papers on you name it. Basically, in the ocean, there's something about it here. You're not really able to narrow it down to anything that feels right, but you know that if you spent long enough, you probably would. At least within any given Cobalt Soul archive. Grouper, after spending... How long were you spending at the cliff face in town before you went outside, before you left town?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
How long were you spending at the cliff face before leaving town?
however long it took me to realize that there wasn't anything I could do there as kind of a as an escape.
And Jack, how long are Meanie Manny and Gatsby spending outside town?
Uh, what time is it when we left the Cobalt Soul?
So you got to town approaching sunset. By the time you left the Cobalt Soul Archive, it was probably after dark.
A while.
Right. In that case, okay. With a 14, or sorry, with a 16 investigation, we'll say that Pease and Davina managed to catch up to Grouper just after he leaves the city gates. So you head towards the cliff. You head around town. You ask about a very easily identifiable fish wearing yellow waders, wearing bright yellow waders, and people give you a couple of different song going that way, song going that way, and eventually you
It
do
could be
catch up.
anyone.
You do catch up outside the city gates with Grouper before you've done the Winnie the Pooh rain cloud, or we'll say as you're doing the Winnie the Pooh rain cloud, you will say. So yeah, in the woods outside in the dark. There is still an amount of ambient light from the walls. Once the sun goes all the way down, torches light up on the walls, which makes Kratom very well visible from within the tree line. But it is relatively dark out here. It is very dark out here, even with that. But
Flop immediately flops over towards Grouper.
So he's got like the rain cloud over him right now and everything.
Yeah, he's just lying on the ground, and it's like basically just raining on himself. Ostensibly could just be him making sure that he is the appropriate level of moist.
animated rain clouds following people isn't the level of media literacy that they have in Exandria, so there's not really a stand-in iconography for that.
No, I mean he's
No.
making a small localized
Yeah, that was for the other
humid environment which is comfortable for him.
This is
Yeah,
not...
but I'm fairly certain, considering the amount of dramatic and romantic literature that goes around in Exandria, dramatic rain as symbol for sadness is definitely a piece of media literacy that goes around.
Yes, it just doesn't have the iconographic nature that it has in real life. This is not a recognizable depression cloud, is what I'm saying.
Still hides tears.
As she walks up, Grouper will just hear in his head, well, this is depressing.
It was very dry in town.
Is Pease in on this link?
Yes, she's gonna drop it because Ella was part of the other one. And
let's make this more awkward.
She'll drop that and then she will recreate another link with herself and Grouper MPs. And she will sit down next to Grouper.
In the rain cloud.
I mean, she's a water adjacent folk.
Grouper will sit up at this point, and the cloud condenses into a blob of water, which just sort of moves and does its sort of slow crawl over his skin to keep him wet. It's like a it's like a weird giant-headed bulbous-eyed David Bowie from Labyrinth with the mirror balls.
Just contact juggling a ball of water.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm sure that was really awkward.
What was?
In the library.
It was just too many people arguing.
I'm going to be better about it. I don't like that everyone's been gone for so long. It was come back and they just feel like they can still grab the little guy and pull him into a conversation.
I mean, can we not grab you and pull you into a conversation?
He flicks a little water at Davina.
She'll flick some back at him.
Well, you can. Peas, I know we're never going to stop you from talking,
He chuckles.
but you can too.
He'll have a sit outside of the rain cloud with his dog.
The cloud's gone. He's
okay.
he's pulled it back into just a little ball of water.
Are you referring to anyone in particular?
You mean in terms of grabbing me and pulling me aside?
Yes.
Kind of just cocks his head. Well, obviously, Ella, everybody saw that. But Najka done it too.
So people aren't allowed to talk to you?
People can ask. Just
People
like you
aren't
would
allowed to
anyone
grab.
else. What was that?
What did he say?
People aren't allowed to grab.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know
fair.
I'm small, but
You're not even
years.
the smallest one here.
I know. But it's been 5 years for me too. And I just
Ashka's like physically put hands on anyone since she's been back.
Yeah, I think it's just Ella throwing him around.
Once!
Twice. And I, Craig, out of character, know that Najka hasn't. But Grouper in character is trying to make it seem like this isn't just about Ella. So yeah, he just threw Najka under the bus.
That's absolutely.
I feel like that's a provable falsehood though, because Najka doesn't.
Well, yes, but
he's not good at lying.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's how lies work.
Do I hear a 3? Do I hear a third, fourth, fifth, sixth?
I feel like Davina knows exactly what he is talking about, or who he is talking about. I know that these past 5 years have not been easy on you either.
It's not a competition. If it
No.
was, you and Tenebris would obviously win.
I don't want to win. I don't want it to be a competition. I'm saying it's been hard on you too.
But that said, who gets the bronze medal? Kitty. Sorry. I'll shut up.
Now, all I can think of is probably Najka getting the bronze medal for being shot.
Over and over and over.
No, being shot isn't nearly as bad as feeling abandoned, I would say.
But you can't. You're really good at avoiding things.
Thanks.
You've always been good at avoiding things. It's one of the things that annoys me the most about you.
It's weird how your deck save isn't better, though.
You need, and I understand you guys are going to talk tomorrow morning, but you need to be willing to work things out with her and come to some form of understanding. If not for you guys, just for the rest of the group.
I know. We've got bigger mollusks to boil.
No. We have to get this done first so we can go deal with other stuff. Because if this is still hanging over us, then that is going to hold us back, and we're going to keep falling into this loop. And I am not going to be a go-between between the two of you.
I don't want you to. What was P saying?
I don't think it's fair to assume that you know how Grouper ought to handle the things that he's gone through. And there's value in doing things on your own time. And Grouper is the one that has to deal with this more than you do.
I understand that, and you are right. But I am not asking that they solve all of their problems, but they do need to talk so we can at least work together on missions and in fights, because we can't have what happened last time continue to happen.
That's only if he wants to work together on missions and in fights.
It's not going to be simple. Or maybe it is. Maybe what we are now is very simple. Maybe what we had was complicated, and maybe the fact that it's gone is maybe that's the simplest thing that there is. Nothing. But we can at least fight side by side. Don't worry. I won't let you all down.
I know you won't. It's just sometimes you need a kick in the head.
And looks down and he says, I'm not going to be a burden for anyone else.
You're not a burden to us.
I'm going to make sure I'm not.
You're not. When did you think you were a burden for someone?
He speaks in Aquan again and says his own name, which is a burden unlooked for that makes its bearer worthy by the bearing.
I forgot that was his full name.
Yep.
He says, just when I was born, I guess.
Make an Davina, you speak Aquan, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do too now.
So both of you then make a history. History, I think, is the only thing we're saying. Make a history check for me.
Make a linguistics check.
Yeah, like linguistics is like.
12.
Did I not?
Can I give a bardic for her to have advantage on that?
If you want, yeah.
I mean,
Right.
it would be an additional bonus, right?
No, it's advantage, and then she can also use the additional bonus. So Davina, you can roll that again, and you can add a d6 to it.
Thank you.
Which is probably experienced by just an extra thought showing up in your head via the psychic link.
Oh, wow. And I add a d6 to that?
Mm-hmm. Or you can keep the d6.
What do I do?
I don't know
with
why
it if
you
I
would,
keep...
but you could.
Oh, okay.
And you could use it on a different check later.
For,
if you
well,
want.
there we go. 25.
All right, well, 25. Davina, you're thinking about Grouper's name in Aquan, and that is what that is a way you can translate it. When written out, when spoken aloud, it sounds like waves crashing against the shore. When spoken in Aquan proper, but if you were to translate it into common, it would sound like 40 stubroi. And thinking about the way Grouper is pronouncing it, another interpretation could also be translated as a gift. Burden and gift in Aquan, in Primordial largely, are interchangeable words. That largely context is required to determine the actual which one of it means. Because a gift from one can be a burden to another. Is a relatively common primordial phrase. It's one of those like linguistic tricks that you learn when you learn primordial, because it's like it's like how you can make an entire sentence out of the word because, or not because, but what's the word? Buffalo. It's like how you can make an entire sentence out of the word buffalo. It's one of those words. And so, depending on the context, it could be directly translated as what Grouper thinks it is, and Grouper might be correct. When you think about it, though, just because of your relationship to Grouper, you could also see it meaning a gift rather than a burden. Make of that what you will. Peas, you're still learning Primordial. Like you've learned enough to read it, but you're not fluent enough to understand the linguistic tricks that you can come with it. Yeah.
Then she will shake her head at him and say, no burden, gift.
And just out loud, he says, just Grouper.
She will hug him.
And Peas doesn't like being hugged, right?
Right.
All right. So Grouper will hug back with both arms and then just kind of give Peas a thumbs up.
So, how long does everyone stay in the respective disparate locations that you found yourselves in?
Nashka will apply her trade for the evening, then find a place to stay for the night.
I definitely stumble my way back to the Cobalt Soul
Elefira,
to crash out
you
fairly drunk.
Elefira, you do know that you could request chambers for the group as a whole at the Cobalt
I
Soul.
think I probably would have done that beforehand, because I will not be thinking about it when I come back. And I think Ella is cognizant of herself and what's going to happen with for the rest of the night to do that. And then she would have found somebody, whoever's of the group is nearby, informed them of that.
Okay. So we'll say the word gets around relatively. Yeah. So does anyone choose to find lodging on their own, or does everyone choose to take the provided chambers at the Cobalt Soul?
Sure, we'll take a Cobalt Soul room.
Davina will.
Tenebris just straight up doesn't leave the Cobalt Soul building the rest of the day, then.
I mean, that's fair.
Davina will take a room, but she very much would like to share with someone.
Peas is willing to follow you around all night. So Peas will volunteer if you want Peas.
She will ask, don't you want a room with your siblings?
He shrugs.
Okay.
But eventually, you all bunk down for the night and get your long rest.
Yay.
How many of you
Anyone-
actually sleep? I don't know how many of you trance and how many of you sleep.
I assume Genasi sleep.
I think Ganassi actually sleep.
I'm pretty sure I don't trance.
I don't,
I don't think any of us are half elves or full elves. I
Except
think we
The
Fire.
are.
goblins,
All right, Byron is half. No, Byron's human, isn't he? Because you
Oh, wait,
started him with the feet.
Right, Fire's human. Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
the goblins sleep when they don't have access to the Aormaton, but Meanie Manny and Gesby are with the Aormaton,
All night? Okay.
so it can wake them,
Davina sleeps.
but they're not at the Cobalt Soul.
So you haven't you don't swap back to your adaptable body?
No, she's gonna sleep.
You all sleep.
Can I get a bathtub?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone roll me a D100.
Good night, Mommy.
Except for the good goblins.
Okay. Peas is at the Cobalt Soul, if that matters.
It wouldn't have. Oh,
I don't
sorry.
know what's going on. I'm just giving the information.
That's fair. Would Meanie Manny and Gesby, are they sleeping outside of town? Or resting outside of town?
I don't know. Coin flip? Maybe. I'll go with yes.
Okay. Roll me a D100 then, but for a different reason. Alright. Okay. Grouper. While sleeping, as of late, you've had slightly more restless dreams than normal. Presumably due to all the stress of, friends coming back and everything not being the way it was, and various reasonable reasons why you might not be getting good sleep. Tonight, though, it's slightly different. You often have dreams of being in the water and being in the ocean, and they're always disjointed and disparate. This time, it's very clear. You're floating amongst the waves, deep underwater. So far down, you cannot tell how far down you are. All manner of strange, deep aquatic fish that you don't recognize swim past you in different directions, too fast and too indistinct for you to make out what types of fish they might be. You're not going to be able to turn into these things.
Damn it!
I had to make that clear.
Yeah, you got me.
At a certain point, you see shadows moving in the distance. Long, fibrous, tendril-like shadows. Moving with purpose, but a purpose unknown to you. One of them you see wrapped around a small figure, struggling for breath. Two more you see wrapped around two other small figures, struggling for freedom, not breath. And one more you see snaking its way through a massive structure deep beneath the waves. All of it's indistinct, but you get a sense of color, even though you shouldn't. There's a light blue associated with the figure that you can tell is struggling for breath. There's a golden green mixture of colors with the two struggling for freedom. And the structure itself is this deep, abyssal darkness, darker than the water around it. Thus, its shadow stands out against the water. And all of it connected by these seemingly flailing tendrils of a yet more massive entity that you cannot identify. And when you wake up in the morning, for some reason, this image, this scene from this dream, is burned into your mind. And
Sorry, go ahead.
the name Coralin Mikli just flashes across your head.
I will immediately splash out of the tub and grab from my pack and pull out a journal and write down everything I can remember and do as best I can to sketch out what I saw.
The good goblins, nothing happens while you're resting out in the forest. And everyone else, you have your normal amount of sleep and wake up in the morning.
I'm out at the right spot, the spot I'm supposed to be first thing in the morning, probably a little bit beforehand.
Yeah. Sounds like I had a rough night, so I think I'll go straight there. I'm probably there with the journal and Flop.
So yeah, as the two of you convene near this chain link barrier at the edge of town, with Grouper sketching in a journal, it seems, that's where we're going to take our break. So those of you that are watching live, please stay tuned for these commercial messages. Or when we take our break, you take yours. So stand up, stretch your legs, move around, do whatever you need to do. And we'll be back in just a few minutes. we're back. A dinosaur story. So, the scene rises on Grouper sitting at the edge of a cliff, trying to match the music that he heard in his dreams. No, that's a different thing. Doodling in a journal with a empty bowl of food off to one side that Flop is currently finishing for him. As Elefira walks up, noticing a somewhat distracted Grouper.
Hey, you all right?
Yeah, just, new tub, sleeping in a different place.
Okay.
Let's talk.
Yeah, fine.
Closes the journal, puts it back into his pack.
I take a seat. How do you want to start? Do you just want to talk about the fight?
I think let's talk about working together.
All right. I've got no way. Sorry, go ahead.
Could have gone better.
I've had worse fights.
Does she laugh?
Yeah. It's not the worst fight I've ever had. Not one of the better. We both fucked up. I'll go first.
Mm-hmm.
I did not when I woke. Look, we haven't fought together in a while. When I woke up and there was a giant frog over me, I did not immediately make the connection to, oh, that's just my ex. My bad.
No, that's fair. We're all of us used to working together in the ways we used to do when we'd go out with Brother Martin, and all of us have new skills. All of us Father Martin. All of us have. Look, I'm kind of a big dick back in town now. I call him Brother Martin. No, so sorry, he would have said Father Martin. I think we probably, before we get into more trouble, should take some time, maybe do a little training like in the old days, so we have a good sense of what everybody's bringing to the table.
It's not a bad idea.
I also, it sounds like good goblins and Byron and me are going to be people who are looking out for everybody's health.
Have I missed anyone who has actively used a healing spell?
Yeah, Worm.
And the dog.
I'm comfortable with the 3 I listed.
Yeah, that's fair.
And to be fair, has Worm used a healing spell, or did Worm find good berries?
Worm used Cure Wounds.
I don't know that I knew that.
It was a chaotic fight, to be fair.
I think Grouper might have been a snake at that point, so I don't know that he's paying attention. All right. No, so I'm going to stick with the 3 that I just listed in character. Yep.
think we need to make sure we have an awareness of who's running into trouble when they're already beat to hell. You shouldn't have been jumping on me trying to get to that other knoll. But
I disagree.
I know. You always do.
Can I explain why I disagree?
Sure.
The reason I disagree is because we were still outnumbered more or less at that point. I was not. Once I realized that you could. This might sound worse than I intended, but once I realized that there was somebody around me that could heal me if I got knocked down again, we needed every able body we could in the fight. Now, in fairness, I am used to fighting with a much smaller group of people, sometimes alone. So, yeah, I need to get in better practice of working with a larger group. And we're going to be able to do that by, like you said, figuring out what everybody's roles are in the fight and etc. In that situation, and we can disagree, and that's fine. But in that situation, I provided more benefit being up there next to Najka, potentially getting shots in, and providing somebody else for that knoll to deal with, besides just the one. My concern, I'm going to try to be diplomatic about this, is that I know you were in frog form. You couldn't exactly say, but you made the decision in that moment for me that I was not to be there and tried to actually knock me off of your back rather than going with the flow and trusting that I was capable of handling myself.
He looks at you, waiting to be sure that you're not about to say something else.
Yep.
And then says, okay, I hear what you're saying. The flip side of that is, I was a giant frog trying to eat a knoll. I didn't know you were gonna jump on my head. You could have said something. If you don't want to give away our plans, I get that. But I'd be real surprised if the gnolls could speak Aquan. It's not perfect, but at least half of the group speaks it.
And that's fair.
You could have said something and... Oh, Ella, come on. Look me in the face. If you can look me in the face and tell me honestly that you didn't jump on me and try to attack it, at least partly because you knew it was going to piss me off, then fine, I'll let it go. But I don't think you can.
Your feelings were nowhere in my mind at that moment. I legitimately did not think about it in the slightest. And had I thought about it, maybe.
What does?
But I didn't give your. Again, this isn't going to sound great, but I didn't give your thoughts on the matter or how you would feel about the matter an instant's thought.
And with a nat 20
so
inside,
that's a 26.
That
I don't
is
know what-
absolutely true.
I apparently I rolled so well I got an additional 13 for something. I don't know where the fuck that came from. But yeah, so natural 20, 26. So she's 100% honest about that?
100.
Gruber just
Yeah,
goes,
absolutely, because I wasn't thinking that at that particular moment.
Gruber just goes, oh.
We've got our problems, and those need to be fucking resolved. I don't think they're going to be resolved right now, but those need to be handled. But in the middle of a fight, when our friends and yours and my lives are on the line, I'm not there to do things spitefully. I'm not. I that doesn't enter my thought process.
Okay. But I have to disagree with you on one part of that.
Okay, I'm sure you do.
I don't know that we do have anything else to work out. Seems pretty clear cut.
All right. If you feel that way, fine.
I'm glad you came back. And I'm glad we're going to help our friends. And I meant what I wrote to you. I hope you're happy. Come on, Flap. And he stands up. Yeah?
None. Nothing.
He just kind of stands there for a minute. For a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll pick up his stuff and pad back towards the, I guess, the library where everybody else is. Actually, I think he'll start off and he'll come back, and then he'll stop and turn and look. What is Ella doing?
I think in the time between when you start walking and when you turn, she's not there anymore. Yes, she is.
So you roll it too.
She is. She's probably because this is a cliff to water, correct?
Well, this is a cliff to airship docks and then water, yes, but it is not a survivable fall.
Okay, fair enough.
How embarrassed does she feel?
There are clouds forming below you.
You're just like hanging off the edge, trying to hide.
Whatever, we're like gods, right?
No.
You're
You're not even halfway to that point.
Yeah, until you pass like 120 hit points, you are not survive terminal velocity levels of tough.
I know, but it's funny because it's a reference.
Yes.
I know. All right. So what does Grouper
I
say?
think. I mean, I feel like the stealth was just her trying to quietly and quickly slip away, and I think you just see her walking off in the other direction.
Gruber goes, Ella.
I think. What?
This is what we're talking about, right? Working together. If we walk back together, everybody's going to feel a whole lot calmer about everything. You don't have to talk to me. Let's go show everybody else we can be co-workers saving the world.
We'll show that on the battlefield, and I just turn around. I just keep walking.
I love the discordant piano strikes between stages.
Yeah, that was good timing.
All right, Cooper and Flop head back.
Does Elefira head back in a roundabout way?
Yeah.
Do the good goblins that stayed outside the walls come back inside the walls, or are they hanging out outside still?
No, they'll come back, but they're coming back as Martin Victoria.
Yeah.
It's Martin Victoria and Peas.
Yep. So the group of you gather back together inside the archives of the Cobalt Soul. The sun's up, so the doors are open. People are coming in and out, gathering books, reference materials. It's easy enough to find a spot to sit down and coordinate.
All right. Do we need a day or two more of preparation, or are we heading to the wall? You're muted, Craig.
Before we start talking, does Tenebris look like he slept at all, or has he been up all night looking through the stacks?
Oh no, Tenebris slept.
Okay, all right.
I will say, Grouper, looking at the doodle, what you've doodled so far, the blue that you've chosen for one of the figures is identical to the blue of Tenebris's tunic that he's wearing.
Didn't he also, when I did the detect magic, didn't he also have a blue aura? Or am I misremembering that?
There was a.
Oh no, I think that was Davina's aura detection, so Grouper wouldn't know that.
Yeah. That was Davina's aura detection.
All right, fair.
Your detect magic detected transmutation and necromantic magics.
Yeah, and he did it through, I think, through sound. So he's looking at Tenebris, but then in response to Naushka's question, Grouper will say, Elefira and I were talking, and I think we have agreed, and he's trying to look very professional and sort of nod questioningly at Ella. That it would behoove us as a group, before venturing forth again, to work and become familiar with how all of us have grown and what our capacities are. I mean, I think we all know we're going to get into more scrapes out there. Better that we're not surprising one another. Better that we're working together.
Aye, that's fair. Could I set up some target dummies?
I mean, target dummies, sure, but
we don't need to get better
to square off against each other.
We don't need to get better individually. We need to get better as a group. Beating up target dummies isn't going to help with that.
It does, actually. That's how you build coordination and maneuverability. When you figure out how you position yourselves relative to your enemy, you figure out how best to move together.
Byron chimes in. At least that's the way they do it in Whitestone, largely, because you can't really control what your enemies are going to do. So trying to plan for that is a waste of time. Rather, you plan for what you're going to do, regardless.
I mean, that's certainly a way you can go.
For instance, in the times that the two of us have been working alongside Rifle Corps members, we tend to be some of the more durable folk. So we tend to take the front line while those who are better at long range with a rifle stay behind us. Positioning matters in lots of these situations.
Mm-hmm.
The best part about this kind of training, this particular sort of group training, firing continues, is that you don't waste ammunition. Which I suddenly realizing probably isn't a big deal for the lot of you now that I'm thinking about it, but
Right.
it's probably why Whitestone does it differently.
I was actually thinking something similar. I think what Grouper was just kind of suggesting. There's enough of us split up into essentially group sparring.
Yep.
Because what we need to know, each of us individually, I think, we all know where we belong in the individual spots in battle. We know the basics between us very well. It's the moments between the moments that are going to fuck us up. And that stuff we're gonna figure out in quote unquote live situations.
Well, I can tell you right now that I've got not a lot fancy as an individual combatant. My particular talent lies off the battlefield, in the preparation beforehand. I won't say that I'm useless in a fight. You see the armor I wear, and I can swing a weapon just as good as anyone else. But I don't do fancy tricks like my partner here, and I don't do much on the battlefield other than wield a very good weapon. The thing I do off the battlefield is make the very good weapons and armor.
Okay, well that's useful.
As for the rest of us, I mean, if we want to do some sparring, I'm pretty certain you spy the guard garrison, and where there's a guard garrison, there's likely a training pit.
Mm-hmm.
I could ask around and find, see if we can get access to it for a bit.
I think that would be valuable.
Unless you're
Assuming everybody agrees, I'm not trying to dictate anything here.
He shakes his head no.
If we don't want to fight each other, or if we want to practice fighting together, maybe we can offer ourselves to the guard as a group training session.
I don't suppose
Possible.
I don't suppose your Cobalt Soul friends have anything special as far as training, do they?
Probably, yeah, absolutely.
You would know.
Is anybody opposed to that? As my eyes go to one person in particular.
Which person? In
Sorry.
Peace.
Peace. Thank you.
Peace doesn't respond to that. He doesn't know exactly what you guys are talking about doing yet.
Just like, do I need to roll insight to tell that Peace is confused, or do I know Peace well enough to know that Peace is confused?
He's not confused. He's just waiting for more information. We're looking at some kind of different training. And he doesn't know whether he's down because he doesn't know what it is.
Elvira, you know that amongst the Cobalt Soul do a lot of image training.
Right.
Do a lot of image training, which in recent years has been enhanced by having mages amongst their ranks.
Mm-hmm.
You got a pretty good read on the Archivist when you came in. You're pretty certain they're a mage. And what they tend to happen, most archives have a training area for their monks. And what they tend to do is the mages will generate illusory enemies that the monks can then have actual, like much more physically beneficial image training against.
Right.
It's not something that's going to harm them, but it is something that will, because when the illusion hits you, it doesn't hurt you, but you get a very clear image of, yeah, no, got you there, etc. Ways to shape up.
Group or two Ps, we'll say.
I'll pass that on.
Okay.
Then Peace is on board.
Okay. Gruber's going to say to Pease as part of that process, just kind of like when we used to spar with Father Martin. But if you don't want to, that's okay. You can just hang out and watch. The main idea is just to get a sense of what all of us can do when we need to do it.
He just nods to that.
Davina, Tenebris, your thoughts?
Davina's fine with whatever they want to do.
Tenebris is ambivalent too. Like, sure, we can do like practice sessions. It sounds interesting.
Okay. Seeing out the archivist is not difficult. They are seemingly omnipresent within the archives, and putting the request forward, Elefera is a member in good standing of the Cobalt Soul, which means that Elefera can absolutely request usage of the image trading grounds. You're all led to a courtyard that Davina, you are slightly confused about, because thinking about how the temple is laid out, the courtyard that you're led to should be occupying the same space, the same place spatially as the area that you and Pease went to sit yesterday.
Ah, it's a TARDIS.
But it definitely isn't that spot.
She'll be looking around trying to figure it out.
The main difference is that you arrived here from inside the archive instead of going out and around. But you are outside in an open courtyard. Yeah. It wasn't really an alley previously because there's a lot of space between the building, but yeah. Yeah, you're brought into an open courtyard where there is a large crystal, sort of a large pyramid-esque crystal in the middle of the sort of circular stone ring. And the archivist will stand on one side, off to one side, open a book, make a few gestures, and the crystal will begin to glow. And they'll go.
Can I tell you how tempted I am to Silvery Barbs her cast?
Silver Barbs isn't counterspell.
I mean, would
just to try to get in her way.
Would you like to
I'm
Silvery
not going
Barbs?
to do it. I'm not going to do it, but that is one thing that they can do.
Yeah. After they make a few gestures and the crystal begins to glow, they go, all right, whenever you're ready to begin, all of you simply place your palms on the crystal.
Yep.
Crystal palm time.
Peas, and then can I fight with Peas outside of Martin Victoria and the other two? Does that work mechanically?
Martin Victoria, you don't have. When you're doing that, Martin Victoria has reduced capability. You can't operate Martin Victoria to its full actual character status without all three of them inside it.
All right, then Peas will climb in.
Yeah. It would be the other two making vehicle piloting checks the whole time, basically, to do things.
This is a good thing for us to learn in character.
Yeah.
I have a dumb mechanical suggestion on that. Could it be one of each of the actions, like regular action, bonus action, and move action, are divided up between the goblins?
I mean, that can be. Mechanically, any one of the three can utilize any of those actions, but the group moves as a gestalt, so they only have one of each.
I'm just deciding they're all doing something in combat, but whichever one gets whichever action is the one that's doing the most effective thing.
Yeah. You all place hands, and in Martin Victoria's case, giant robot hand on the crystal. And upon doing so, do any of you choose to make an intelligence saving throw?
I do not.
No.
Sounds like no from everybody. Unless Holly.
Sorry, debating.
I saw the look
Yeah,
on your
that's
face.
fair.
Check.
No, she's gonna try to make one.
All right, make an intelligence saving throw for me.
15.
15 is a failure. Tenebris, Nashka.
I already said no. It might not have come across the mic.
Drevin? I can't. I don't know if you're muted.
Pretty certain Drevin is also saying no. Their mic might be muted.
Or I'm just speaking too quietly.
There we go. Okay.
There
That
we go.
Yeah, that was no. Yeah, you feel something, sort of a wave of something wash over you, and you all sort of independently realize that you are no longer in that courtyard. You are standing in a sort of an open grassy field that isn't. It's sort of generically familiar, but isn't actually familiar. This is like this is a idealized concept of a grassy field that you have found yourself standing in, and Najka, what is the first enemy that comes to mind to you?
Oh no. Oh no.
Is it Knowles?
Oh no.
Is it Knowles?
She's from Whitestone. She's a member of the Grey Hunt. It's a Grey Render.
All right.
Be glad this wasn't Davina.
What? No, hang on. Jack.
Oh, it's going
what's the
around,
first-
I feel like.
shoot.
What's the first enemy that comes to mind for the good goblins?
Knowles. We just fought Knowles.
All right. Davina, what's the first enemy that comes to mind for
Oh
Davina?
no.
The only one that has been on her mind since she escaped, Silos.
Jeremy, what's the first enemy that comes to mind for Elefira?
So I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Have I gone
the one I would ask?
No. Very much so. This is relevant to that. Has Ella been through these? Is Ella
Yes.
familiar with kind of how this works?
You are familiar with how this
So it is
works?
100%. So it is going to be. She is ready for this,
Mhm.
and I feel like probably who she's had to do normally through this, which is probably Rook, I would assume.
Yeah. Okay. Craig, what's the first?
No. She was ready for it to make sure it wasn't Grouper.
What's the first enemy that comes to mind for Grouper?
Yeah,
Oh,
Grouper
no.
was not ready for that. So I have to ask you in a little more detail. What do you mean by enemy?
When if somebody were to fold Grouper's brain out like a Rolodex and go to the section labeled enemies and flip to the first entry, what's the first entry that comes to mind?
Again, that's the thing. Do you define enemy as somebody that Grouper feels is going to
How does
hurt him?
Grouper define it?
That's up to how Grouper defines the word enemy.
Oh.
Do it.
All right, I'm gonna
Fucking do it.
All right, I'm gonna be honest. I one of these is more interesting than the other, but candidly I think they're both funny. So I'm gonna roll a D100.
And it's your
I think
imagination.
4%.
It could be some strange amalgamation of the two.
Oh my god. Okay.
No.
Yeah, never mind. I know exactly what it is. It's
Oh no.
It's very clearly Ella, but with a seagull head.
That's fantastic.
Trevian, what's the first enemy that comes to mind for Tenebris?
A turtle.
How big?
There is a stab block for a giant snapping turtle.
All right. So
That.
you all look around and you feel this pulse of energy again. And stepping seemingly out of shadows that weren't there previously, you see a small squadron of gnolls, behind which rises up this massive, gray, stony, bestial figure. for people that don't know what a Grey Render is, think of a Rancor from Star Wars, basically.
Still nothing.
And let me get I'll link an image
I have
for
a
you.
picture.
Big gray monster, big gray bipedal, muscular.
That in
Humanoid.
Roll20 chat.
Yep.
This massive stone-like entity rising up from behind the knolls. Yet further back behind them, a figure clad in white robes, slathered with blood, long elbow-length gloves on, with a scalpel in one hand, and a sculpted death mask over their face. Off to one side of that group is a giant snapping turtle. What looks like a water ganassi with a head of a seagull wearing the same exact clothes that Elafira is wearing. And a hang on, let me pull up my image here.
Okay, small change. It's the clothes Elafira was wearing when she left the island 5 years ago.
Okay, yeah. So it's an odd.
Ashka looks at that. It's like
an
I've
odd
met many a
seagull,
sailor with that nightmare.
An odd seagull, young
Wearing
Elafira.
rich girl clothes.
Hang on. Why am I blanking on the name of
On
this
Rook?
character? Yeah. Rook's actual
Shawnee?
name, because that's what I
Lysithea.
Lysithea, thank you.
Lysithea.
Thank you.
Fire Emblem.
And then off to one side, sort of like yet further detached, is a human woman, standing at exactly 6 feet tall. Dark dark olive tan skin, black hair cut short, with glowing like sort of arcane lines cut into the sides of what seems like a short undercut. Wearing a short jacket that has the sleeves torn off. Long detailed tattoo of a snake going down one arm, of a white snake going down one arm, and sort of series of cloud-like design going down the other. Wearing cobalt blue like pants that have an armored knee, armored boots, and black leather gloves that have steel plating on the back of the knuckles, with black eyeliner, blue eyes, black lipstick with a single white line down the middle, and a bunch of scarring visible. Davina, you recognize this person as the person that saved your Rook.
Mm-hmm.
Does she have too many tears?
What was
Yeah,
that?
what?
What was that, Craig?
Does she have with the description of the tattoos? Does she have too many tears? White snake.
Yes,
I got it.
I tried so hard not to say, she's the drummer from Whitesnake.
I was trying
exactly.
to figure out if that was the name of a song or you're making a different reference.
It's okay, Sen. Take it slow and easy.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
I just immediately, Ella's head just whips around, eyes like a group, like, really?
Grouper is like,
I know, has no idea, but
Martin
looking at the seagull, Ella, looking back at Ella, goes, okay, that's army.
Martin Victoria is going to notice all of the enemies and say, this was a shit idea. Turn around, offer an arm around Davina between her and the enemies to walk away with.
No.
All right, then they'll walk away.
No. The second, because Davina does not realize what's going on right now. And the second that Davina sees Silo, she starts losing it.
I need you all to roll initiative before you make insight checks.
God damn it. I want to notice that she's incoherent.
Oh, you will. Oh, geez.
it's okay. I got you beat by one.
Initiative. Where is? Oh God! Everybody rolled so good.
We're not going to a battle map because reasons. Do I have grouper?
I rolled an 8.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
roll initiative because it's just flat.
Okay.
I can't. I mean, honestly, what better time to use theater of the mind than
Literally in your mind.
battling in our minds?
That is fair.
What's your dexterity score, Elefira?
+4, 18.
Thank you. What's your initiative score?
Oh,
Bruce?
yeah. So
16.
there, I've added my like that thing.
All right. So we're going to open up with Elefira. Elefira, you see this group of enemies begin to ready themselves. More importantly, you see your mentor immediately leap towards you. You watch as she starts to move and then blinks. There is just it's like she's glitching out almost as she takes a step and is 30 feet closer, and then another step and is 30 feet closer.
Right.
And in those 2 steps, she has now appeared in front of you. And her left leg has risen into the air. The tip of the foot down to her heel, down to her knee, erupts with fire as she drops a flaming axe kick on you.
Mm-hmm.
Does a 23 hit you?
Yeah, I'm not dignifying that.
You take you take no damage
Right.
but you do flinch back instinctively as the rest of you watch as this flaming axe kick just rips through Elefira, dealing no damage. But Elefira, you very clearly realize you were caught off guard because you were
Of course.
freaking out about everybody else's decisions, or reacting. to
One
them.
person, just one person's.
You felt the impact; it just didn't hurt.
Right.
And it is now your turn.
I think I first would like to insight check our psychic. Nope, she's fine. All right. So, look, there's a fight going on right now. Yeah, for those listening, I rolled a total of 8.
Mid-battle insight's not great.
No. I am going to. That said, I am not an idiot, and the whole point of this is how we work together. So I'm not just gonna fight my own person. I am going to hold on just a second. I am going to bonus action disengage.
Okay.
From Rook. And I am going amidst all of it. I'm going up to Davina's name. I forget at the moment, but
Silos.
Silos.
All right. So bonus action
And attacking there.
May attack roll.
Yep. Ooh. Does it take a bonus action to? Yes, I do need a bonus action. That never mind. Yep.
run up. And
It's fine.
You,
This is our first time fighting as a group. Second time fighting as a group.
I know. You run up with the armature and stab.
What the point of this
stab
is?
in towards him, and it's odd. You know that the illusions that this training session conjure up move with whatever understanding that the person that they come from has.
Right.
So when this person doesn't dodge your attack, but just isn't there, make an insight check for me.
Which I have been doing great at so far this session.
Natural 20. You realize that this enemy probably isn't going to do much, at least not directly, because based on how it's reacting, Davina doesn't have enough information for a full illusion to form here. This is just an image, largely, like a moving image, one that will presumably make noise and do things, but not one that will be a full and complete enemy combatant.
That's fine. The point of Ella's point of moving towards this one was it's going to ensure that there are among us as a group people working in concert on an enemy. So she's fine. Do you say they moved or they're just not there anymore?
He definitely moved out of the way. Like you understand that he definitely moved out of the way, but it was in such a way that it wasn't like he was dodging. He just coincidentally moved out of the way of your strike.
Okay, but he's still there. It's not like
there.
he's vanished.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Tenebris, on your turn. The giant snapping turtle trundles slowly towards you. It doesn't move fast enough to get to you in the first round. Your turn.
I watch Elefira go off at one person. I look at the turtle, I flip off the turtle, and then I go towards the other person.
The one
like,
that...
Cool, let's gang... Silos.
Okay. Right,
Let's gang up
like-
on one target. Yeah.
Yeah, let's gang up on a very significant target.
Sure.
And I will try to hit it with the whip.
Make an attack roll.
Whip.
This time he doesn't just coincidentally move out of the way. As the whip flings out, one of the gloved hands just bats it away as if it's an annoyance. Right?
Tenebris flips him off too now.
Najka. The large hulking form of the Grey Render just barrels down on you, and you watch as the ground... You intuitively understand that this is an illusion based on what you saw, what happened with Elefira's... with Rook.
Question.
Go ahead.
In preparations for this training, knowing that it's illusory, would it have been an understandable thing for us to have basically loaded blanks into firearms so that we can fire and
As far
effectively
as you
loot
can
without
tell,
wasting ammo?
as far as you can tell, you are not in. You're not in the archives. You get the image. You get the idea that the enemy is illusory because this group of people wouldn't be fighting you like this in this particular manner. But you wouldn't have had the forethought to load blanks into your weapons or anything like that. This thing, and also as this thing charges towards you, the ground buckles and bends beneath its weight as it slams forward, and just instinctively in the back of your mind, you have that sense of danger. Like, intuitively, you do not want to get hit by this thing, even if you logically understand it's an illusion.
Yeah.
It is going to make 3 attacks at you.
We're going to get our asses kicked. It's going to be fine.
On that one, a nat 20, and then a 16.
Well, only the nat 20 hits.
You dodge the first strike as it rumbles past you, tearing the ground up around you. You feel that sensation of dirt and rock sort of scattering as it passes. swings back around and does this devastating backhand. And you feel the blow, and in the back of your mind, you just go, "I'm dead." No damage, though, as the claw strikes through you. You react to it as if it's real, but there's no damage. And then for that third strike down, as it tries to bite down on you, you get out of the way very quickly. Your turn.
Very quickly choosing weapon configuration based on the current environment, she pulls the shield off of her back and the peacemaker off of her belt. Like keeping the shield up and angled towards the gray render as she sort of circles around it. She sees the situation over there. Is there a clean angle because he's been avoiding everything on Silos?
Sorry, what was that?
Is there a clean angle on Silos because he's been avoiding everything?
Yes.
So she'll keep the shield angled towards the gray render and sort of turn the peacemaker towards Silos and fire. She will back up out of the gray render's reach first.
Okay. You back up out of its reach. It's going to make an attack opportunity on you. .24 to hit.
Yes, barely.
You take no damage, but as the strike hits, you feel your legs lock, and you are unable to step away. Your speed becomes 0. So you are still considered in melee. So disadvantage on the shot.
Yeah, she will still take the shot, though. Actually, in that particular case, she holds the pistol out, and instead of pulling the trigger, the fire that is in her veins sort of snakes up and around. It sort of leaves her arm, and sort of snakes into the barrel of the pistol, and then just launches itself out as she uses Produce Flame.
Okay. Which would still be disadvantage because it's still a ranged
It's still
spell
disadvantage,
attack.
which
Yeah.
misses. Oh wait,
But
it's not adding my intelligence to it. Right,
No,
'cause I
it's
technically-
adding your non to it, which is an odd way to use bread, but
Try that again. It's still a 9.
so yeah, with a miss, the shot goes wide. It skims past Elefira's face actually, as you are firing into melee. And Elefira, you feel the heat of this produced flame go past.
Notably,
Seems to work out.
It was definitely aimed for a clear angle, so it would not hit him.
Oh yeah, but you're in melee with a gray render, and
But things happen.
things happen in
Yeah.
combat. All right, Davina, Silas looks at you. And you hear, all of you hear, just out loud, "Why, look who it is, my most durable subject. Fancy running into you in this interesting locale." Make a Constitution saving throw.
We can all
7.
hear that.
You can all hear that, yeah. You
Can
feel... Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, we still have a mental link up, Davina.
Yes, yeah, she'd have a mental link up with everyone right now.
Okay.
Over the mental link, you hear Grimmer go, "Oh, fuck this guy straight to hell."
Agreed.
Davina, your knees buckle, and you just hit the ground. You're not
You know, this
physically-
works because she was going to do this anyway.
You're
so...
not physically in pain, but you do lose your turn as this image of your tormentor overpowers your senses.
No, if I may add to it,
Feel free.
she falls to the ground and is just screaming bloody murder right now.
Yep.
Holding her head.
The good goblins.
So Martin Victoria walks over to Davina, and if she looks like she's going to resist at all, we're casting Hold Person. We're going to pick her up and walk away.
May athletics check. Are you resisting Davina?
Yes, because she's not making sense of what's going on right now.
All right, make a wisdom save.
First
16.
I was gonna say, how many episodes in did we get?
10.
Hooray!
What's my spell save? How do I know what my spell save is?
It's 8
Wh-
plus your proficiency plus your charisma modifier.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's your
Can I? I can't use my reaction during.
Yeah, you can. You can use your reaction whenever it's triggered.
Okay, then I'm gonna silvery barbs her.
All right, so roll again. Davina.
What am I rolling?
Wisdom save.
Wisdom save.
Wisdom again?
Yeah.
21.
Even
Fuck.
I'm sorry.
Okay, doesn't
Good
matter.
effort.
I've been rolling horribly tonight aside from that.
We're still gonna pick her up.
Yep. So
and carry
so
her
it's an athletics. It's a flat athletics check instead of an athletics check with an advantage in this case.
Who gets the advantage?
Oh, well, actually, you could give yourself advantage if you want.
What?
Silver barbs. Silver
Silvery
barbs
barbs.
also.
Oh, on the
Yeah,
athletics.
Yeah. Hold on, let me roll that one more time for advantage. Can I? Oh wait, there we go. That's a 20.
What is
That's gotta work.
What is your passive athletics?
I have 2 inspiration I'm
Davina.
willing to spend on this.
Or acrobatics?
Yeah.
When you say passive
So
athletics.
10 plus.
10 plus whatever your athletic score is, and 10 plus whatever your acrobatic score is.
I mean, my athletic score is 0.
So 10. All right, and what's your acrobatics?
And then acrobatics is 2, so 12.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
easily you pick up Davina.
I'm going to pick up Davina and walk away from the combat and yell that this exercise needs to stop now.
I'm already on that.
Make an intelligence saving throw. Good goblins. With advantage.
Intelligence saving throw. Okay, that works.
20. With that, this combat needs to stop declaration. You open your eyes and you realize that your hand is on the crystal.
Yep.
And you look around and you see the rest of your party. They're all sort of like hands on the crystal, eyes closed. And you pull your hand away.
I'm gonna carry Davina away.
Well, Davina is standing separately away from you. Seeing you begin to move, the archivist sees that you've broken away from the illusion and reaches over and just rings a bell, rings like a small crystal bell. And and all of you hear this sound of a crystal bell just ringing, and you are all back at the training
Yep.
grounds with your hand on the crystal. As we are now out of initiative.
Out of character, I'm really sorry about this.
No, don't
That was
be.
awesome.
But
That was fantastic.
that is absolutely who she would have pictured. So
Davina,
No, that was great.
Davina, you are no longer paralyzed from, at
Mhm.
least from the effects of the illusory version of your enemy.
right,
Um,
right, yeah.
And you realize, you instinctively understand that everything you just experienced was an illusion inside your head. You all do.
Mhm.
That's how the spell works.
Yeah. Holy shit, I'm so sorry.
Davina is shaking completely at this point.
Rupert will go to her and
So
just
does
hug
Martin
her
Victoria.
if she'll let him.
Yep.
Okay, so this is kind of what I was talking about in terms of alerting people ahead of time to how things work.
It was pretty well explained, I thought. I'm sorry if it wasn't.
No, it's you don't have to apologize.
Illusory fight against, and
Our
I'm
worst
sorry,
dreams?
yeah.
The relevant input would
Implications
have been
of
our
Cooper's worst fear.
influence over the fight.
Is Elafira with a seagull's head.
Or what was that, Jack?
Sorry, what?
I love the implication. Grouper said our
Right.
worst fears, right?
Yeah.
I love the implication that his worst fear is Elafira with a seagull's head.
Yeah, I want you to take a
When
second and
it's
picture that. I want you to picture one of your exes with a
Oh, I
giant
don't
seagull
like it.
head. That's fucking terrifying.
Seagulls are the worst.
Yeah. They're what Grouper hears when he senses necromancy.
Davina has sunk to the floor at this point.
Which does mean Grouper can give you a proper hug, because now you're Grouper sized.
She's not that tall. She's 5 feet.
Now that you are awake, Fyron, who hadn't been in the illusion because there's only so many spaces around the crystal,
Right.
you feel that aura of calm that he emits washing over you as the influence of Silos begins to fade.
Not again. Please, not again.
Hey, Vina, when we see him for real, I'm gonna turn into something real small and crawl into his nose, and then turn into something real big, okay?
Fyron whispers something, mutters something to the archivist, who nods and sort of steps out of the training area and then moves closer to the group. So it sounds like that was a bit unexpected. Is everyone okay?
Wait a minute.
Martin Victoria is silent.
I'm silent
Very.
because I am not there anymore.
Uh,
Davina's crying at this point.
he
I'm the one
reaches.
with the voice issues.
He reaches onto his belt and like moves closer in an obvious manner, so that if Davina wants him to not get close, he can stop. And he'll offer the flask off of his hip towards Davina.
No,
It's just water.
no.
All right, I'll put it back on his hip.
Is Davina starting to calm down at all?
She's like, she's not screaming or freaking out, but she is just sitting on the ground quietly with tears running down her face.
Martin Victoria will offer you a hand.
She'll give it a minute and then take it.
They'll lift you up and give you a hug. We're done with Elifira's bullshit. We're going to go south to cross the wall. If any of you wish to come, you're welcome. Davina, are you good to come?
At this point, Davina's looking for Ella.
Ella is not in the room.
Nope.
Then Martin Victoria will turn to Grouper and take care of her.
I think all of us probably ought to hold on before making any snap decisions. But if you gotta go,
She has made nothing but bad decisions. And I don't want to wait around for the next one.
Trying to organize a group training session was not a bad decision. It had unforeseen consequences, true. Don't let your bias cloud your judgment.
So above the table, I love that nobody can tell who's speaking when Martin Victoria talks.
No one can tell who's speaking, but it's got to lean sometimes.
Oh no, that was totally peas.
Yes. Yeah, it was peas.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
that felt very peas.
Yeah.
How's
Peas has no patience for re-triggering trauma.
how's Tenebrous?
I mean, if you're paying attention, the only reaction Tenebris has is muttering to himself, "Damn turtles."
Yeah, but I mean, is that constant, or is Tenebrous at this point just sort of observing everybody?
A little bit of both.
I will say again, Grouper is sort of pretty constantly. I mean, unless he's actively doing something, pretty constantly just kind of keeping an eye on Tenebrous after the last couple days. Not unkindly or suspiciously, but out of concern, especially after the dream last night. So just FYI.
So I like that. I'm personally amused by the fact that Grouper came up with the idea.
I was about to say
Elefir
this
is getting the
initial thing
blame.
was, yeah.
What? Okay.
I mean, it was Elefira's training exercise.
Yeah.
was.
Now,
Had the
now
idea
hold
to
on a
have
second.
one,
I came up with the idea
and
of
it
doing a
was
training
Ella's exercise.
Yes. I know.
Grouper did not come up with the
Yeah,
idea of, hey, let's all go face our worst
Go-
fears and not have anyone tell us that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, Grouper was suggesting that like we pair
That we
off
go
and face each other.
Discuss with the guards what kind of training exercise we
And the
could
guard,
have.
yeah.
Completely
Oh.
mundane.
Also, to clarify, it wasn't our worst fears. It was an enemy. The
Yeah.
first enemy that came to mind.
Yes.
But
Because
unfortunately,
Tenebris' worst fear would have put us all underwater.
Yeah, there you go.
unfortunately, it ended up being Davina's worst fear.
Absolutely.
But
Oh,
also
yeah.
an enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also that's still valuable information because that tells us what's going to happen if that enemy that we need to face ever appears.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, Grouper's not blaming Elefira. I'm just saying out of character, like, if the question is whose idea was this specifically, I respectfully will disagree with Sen that it was Grouper's idea to face off psychically with manifestations of enemies.
That's okay. You don't have to blame Ella. She's doing that more than enough at the moment.
But anyways, with a declarative statement made by the good goblins, and Elefira having vanished, Davina looking for Elefira, that's where we're going to leave off for this week. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Hi, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.